Hello, and welcome to, I think, a very special edition of the Worn and Wound podcast. Well, this is going to be weird to say. I'm joined by Lauren and Lorenzo Ortega, but as you probably already know, we're all now part of Laurier. So we're recording this after the official message has gone out that Worn and Wound has acquired Laurier. And I don't know, we just want to talk about it. I would say do a wrist check, but everyone but me remember to wear a Laurier. But let's start. Lauren Lorenzo, what watches are you wearing?
I've got the Falcon Series 3 on my wrist.
And I've got the Astra white dial.
That's the only series white dial that's happened?
Yep.
All right, cool. Blake, what you got?
I'm wearing the Hydra Zulu. It's the DLC Hydra GMT. Pretty sick.
Pretty sweet.
Nice.
James.
I also have the Astra white dial, Series 1.
Oh, nice. And I could grab from the pile we have here, but I was just wearing my newest watch, which was the Otsuka Lowtech number 8. Let's ignore that, though. I just ran out in a rush this morning. Forgot, obviously, to grab my Laurier.
Is that the watch you put on in a rush?
Yeah, that's
well,
your
it was like sitting
it's not like
there.
a G-Shock.
I have like the watch I was wearing most recently, like basically out, you know.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Zach, I was going to have my Neptune on just so like, oh, this is the Neptune. This is where it all started. But the Falcon's like kind of my default summer watch, and I just forgot to change.
We have a Neptune on the table. We could all lie about this and also switch watches.
That's right. There's no video.
Yeah, there's no video.
I have to confess that since the deal closed and we've been working on integrating, we'll have a conversation with Nina, who does our customer service logistics, and I will have difficulty recalling the name of a line, or I'll get them mixed up.
I know.
She shits on me so hard because she's just like, shouldn't you know that? And just stares at me, and I'm like, thanks a lot. I feel like garbage right now.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out eventually.
Oh, that's good. So that's a nice way to start. That we don't know about the lines.
We don't know anything about it.
I will say,
Good job, guys.
if you think about it, there's a little connection from the name to the style of watch. If you just think about it.
Okay.
Oh,
I know them.
okay.
Good.
That's all.
Did we have the first? Did Worn and Wound do the first LE with you? Was that the first one you ever did?
It was.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to think about that.
The Gemini.
Yeah.
The Gemini Blue Dial.
Yeah. That was 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that long ago?
Yep.
Yeah, that was I think the second limited edition we launched during COVID times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one that broke the website.
Yeah, that was the fastest sell we ever had.
Yeah. It was 20 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still have it in the package. Haven't taken it out.
All right.
Wow.
Wow, look at this guy. Hoarder.
It's
like he knew it was coming. You're like, I have to save this. Something special.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
It went quick. And then we saw it on Netflix.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
That
on
just
Netflix.
randomly popped up on Netflix.
Yep. That was cool.
It's interesting.
Well, I do have to say, welcome to the family, guys. I hope one day you learn your children's names.
They're my stepchildren, so it'll take some time.
You're at it later.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to sell your children to us now?
Phrased beautifully. We're really going to dissuade any concerns here.
We can cut that out.
First of all, you know the deal.
Yeah. I feel like that is the question that people have been asking is why now, why at all, and how did it happen?
Yeah.
And I know from my perspective and our perspective, but
Well, let me see if my memory aligns with yours. Okay. I don't know where to begin this. I mean, in the very beginning we started, it was me and Lorenzo. And we were making watches that we wanted people to be able to wear every day. Watches people could make a memory with. Watches that were accessible. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to treat them in a precious way. And you could just live your life. And it took off more than we ever expected it to. And for a while we could handle it, but by 2024, we're like, we can't keep going the way we are going. This is not sustainable. It was still just me and Lorenzo, and we were selling as many watches as we could handle. And so we knew by the end of 2024, it's like, okay, we have to expand. This is bottlenecked. And we're trying to make watches that are accessible, but they're not. Like,
because we're running out of stock.
yeah, like big picture question here. Like, this is not what we wanted. People, like, they're selling out quickly. They're sold out all the time now. This is not, we're becoming a monster like that we did not want to be.
Yeah, and I should add that we were doing everything, like emails, fulfillment, coordinating production,
photography, and all the little things that go into the business. And, a lot of small businesses have this experience where it's a little work in each area where you can't hire someone full time for each of those positions you might need, right? So everyone has to be competent in everything, and you just get it done, right? But that was not sustainable anymore. We had maxed out what the two of us could do. And in 2025, we thought, okay, that's going to be the year where we were looking at workspace, a showroom, hopefully hiring people. And then you probably remember what 2025 was like.
I do.
Where you didn't know what to expect. Every morning.
It kept it fun.
Can we even ship our production?
Right. Yeah.
So suddenly we can't plan. We don't. The amount that we would have needed to invest into very expensive overhead, the workspace, employees, everything, training, all that. Suddenly, the risk wasn't
worth it.
It was just there's been so much sweat and tears gone into what we built to put all of this into something that seems like, if we risk this and if like we can't even ship production over and we lose it all, like how we were just completely at this point.
The wall.
It would have been great if that had happened, but it just was too risky. And so we were kind of, we hit the wall.
Yeah.
And we go ahead.
No, okay. All right. I was just going to add that, like we also talked about this where it was like, we didn't have set plans to expand or anything. It was like, we talked specifically about, are we going to have to like hire people? And if we do hire people, how do we manage them? And that's really difficult. And we don't really know how to do that. Like we
got into this business to manage people.
Right.
Right. No,
like,
that's not.
I still don't consider myself an entrepreneur or a business person. Like Lauren does all that stuff, and I'm pretty clueless as to all that.
Well,
so
That's not
each other out,
okay. Don't sell yourself short. But anyway, things could have gone one way, but we felt like we couldn't take that gamble anymore. Yeah. And so we were winding down. We're like, you know what? Let's just rest, sabbatical, so maybe figure out where to go, because this is not what we wanted. This is too big, too much, and too many people are unhappy. We were unhappy. And it was at Wind Up New York in October when I was talking to Blake, explaining why we hadn't been doing wind ups. Yeah, we're like kind of winding down, and sabbatical. Maybe we'll see, but we can't keep going this way, and we need to preserve our own mental health and our relationship and everything, and it's too chaotic right now for us to move forward. So anyway, Blake was like, what the heck?
I remember that day.
Typical Blake. He's like, get it together.
Well, he was much more gentle than that. He's like, I'm so sorry to hear that. He respected where we were coming from. And he's like, can I think of ways? Like, I'd hate to see Laurier go. Can I think of ways to maybe keep it going? And so, that's when the idea happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I was going to say I was not. Yeah, at the time, I think, because we work with a number of different like larger brands that are maybe a little bit more in the back, like in the background, that are sort of in the business of this, of like acquiring brands or parts of brands and helping them scale. And I don't think any of them were necessarily right for what you guys wanted, but in my mind, I was like, it would be really great to find and think of the right person or organization to work with. And then you like sort of suggested, what about you guys? And
well, because you have everything we needed and would have had to invest a ton and risk a ton to acquire space, people, the infrastructure, fulfillment, everything. You already have all that. Like, that's exactly what we were looking for.
It's so funny, though, because until... And just to make this clear to people, like, this wasn't part of our roadmap either, nor our business plan is like to acquire a brand that is running and up and running. I feel like until you maybe pointed that out, like, it's like, oh, wait, we do have that to some level. I mean, obviously we know it from our own, but like, just before we got on, like, we do it for it. Like, there's like a level of distance because we sell other brands. It's a showroom. It's a shop, more traditional retail, not owning the brand per se. I mean, we've dabbled with Adapt and things like that. But yeah, it's funny because then Blake, not that long after, I was, I don't know, just run around wind up as one does. And Blake was just like, hey, Zach. I was like, what? And he's like, how would you feel about buying Laurier? I was like, yeah, it's cool.
Well, let me share my experience. So I hadn't seen you two in a year, I think.
Yeah.
And then I saw Lauren first. I think it was Saturday at Wind Up. If this is too much, you can always take it out. But I had a particularly bad day. I don't remember why. But New York is like a very overwhelming event, and it's considering how much of a lightweight I am, like everybody else does the work now, and I just scream and run around. But I remember I had finished doing all the filming because they asked me to do the filming for the documentary. And then I finished that and I went downstairs and I saw you and I was like, oh, great. And I've known you for a long time. I can be direct with you. The time between you said hello to me and then started the conversation about explaining what you had just explained to Blake was probably 5 seconds. And I was like, did this just happen? We're doing this right now? and I was like, yes. Lot to think about, but we'll figure this out. And I was very happy. I mean, it was a very uplifting event to happen after that day because I don't really remember why it was rough, but it was a lot that day. And then I was like, that's a really cool thing that we could think about how to do, and then that started the process.
Because the big thing was like for us, we had already made peace with saying goodbye to it, but the idea of it living on was incredible. And so like the term was like, we have full creative control, right? And Blake was like, well, duh. Like, obviously, like, it wouldn't be the brand. Like, what are you buying without the design? So so everything, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was the most surprising part about the entire process is like how easy it was. Like, I think, you obviously made it easy to sort of like frame in my mind and our minds, like how it could even happen. It was an easy yes from us. We actually got to brass tacks to talk about how it would work. Like, I don't think we really wrestled with like terms or who's going to be doing what or who has what authority. Like, it all just kind of happened organically. I think, like you were saying, like, we value the brand that you created. It's obviously incredibly successful, and like a lot of people care about it in a very deep way. Like, why would we change anything? And I think, not to jump ahead, but, the news sort of trickled out on the internet over time. And like, that's really one of the primary concerns that people would communicate is like, how's it going to change? And the reality is it's not. Like that's not anyone's intention. So, it was just kind of incredible how quickly it all came together. At least in my mind, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty quick, organic.
Yeah,
and like we were obviously immediately started getting more product, in production and everything. And, well, I guess everything will be announced by the time we're actually but by the time you're hearing this podcast, you already know a lot of this, but like, yeah, and it wasn't like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. It was like, what were you going to do next? And so we worked on the next generation of the line.
Because we already had, best case scenario, we already had redesigned the core collection, updated it. And so, we're able to do that now. And, a leap of faith from you guys, because that was when we came to that first meeting. We're like, okay, thanks. Now we are wanting to redesign. We are wanting to make some changes based on our experience and what customers are wanting and things like that and where we think they should go. And, you had seen our financial statements from everything in the past, but now you are betting on us in the future. So I appreciate that because, so now we have to do it. And now it's, it's a new chapter.
I had noticed that very early on when you started to tell us the problems that you were kind of facing as you were growing. It was very similar with a lot of companies that we've talked to and a lot of watch companies specifically. Everybody's is unique, of course, but there's different types of people and they handle it different ways. And some people just kind of put their head down and deal with it by themselves, which is very mentally taxing. There's other people who expand too quickly. And then there's other people who are like, you know what? I need some help to do this. And I think that that's kind of what happened with Blake, Zach, and I when we started, is because when these two had said that they wanted to kind of start the website, and then they reached out to me and said, could you help us with some product? And then we kind of have organically gotten larger year over year. So when you came to us and said, here's the things that we wish we had, or we need help with expansion on, it made a lot of sense for what was already here at the company, the types of people that we have, the types of things that we do. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, we could, I always talk about the company as 3 different parts. And this is kind of like the 4th part. Like it's just adding an extra part of it, which is adding an additional brand to what we do. And it made a lot of sense because we have a lot of the expertise, but I wouldn't have been comfortable with it unless we knew you as much as we do, because I feel like we've known you since the beginning. It's very shortly after. And I can remember you two specifically in San Francisco on Geary Street the first year, I think. Like that far back, you were at or I guess it was, was it Geary? Yeah, it was Geary.
It was the gallery.
The gallery, yeah. So I can remember like that far back, you were there the whole time. So it was very comfortable to me specifically because it just, everything made a lot of sense. And from start to finish, it was like, I think it was 3 months. We kind of figured all the little stuff out.
Yeah. I don't even think it needed to take that long. I think it was just lawyers dragging their
lawyers wasting time.
But I mean, because it's not. Like, come on, we got watches to make. Let's go. But because it's not like we haven't gotten offers. We've been approached by VC or other investors and stuff like that, but that's never been
private equity, guys.
That's not. No, they don't know what they're doing, and they would have no clue. And I also don't want to work for VC guys, but it's just we'd rather our brand not exist than exist badly, and we're very possessive of it. It's our baby. So same with you. Like we know y'all well. We know the work you do. We've worked with you. We know who you are as people and your values, and we're very much aligned in a lot of ways. So it just seems like you have the pieces that we were looking for.
Yeah. On that note, my experience on that day of Wind Up, James, is kind of... I mean, it's funny that you mentioned comfortable, because on that day, I was at the Grand Central table because we didn't have a table at all that year. Oh, that year, the reason why you hadn't seen us for a whole year was we were like, this is too much. We're just not going to do watch fairs this year. We're just going to focus, on, the back of the room stuff. But we had a release of Grand Central Watch. So, we were at the table there, and Lauren was off talking to Blake, And then, after some time, she comes by and she whispers, Warner Brothers going to buy us.
And she gets right to it, doesn't she?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's, I felt, some degree of inner peace that I had not felt for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it was a tumultuous time, and, we did have people who reached out to us, and, in the back of my mind, I was like, well, do we just cash out and, just get what we can and, go? But, that, like Lauren was saying, we don't want to exist badly. We'd rather just not exist at all. So then when she comes along and be like, oh, it's you guys. I'm like, oh my God. No. Yeah. What? That's awesome.
Yeah. It's so funny because I generally speaking, when it comes to any kind of deeper partnership with the business, I don't know if Zach and James, you recognize this, but internally, I'm hyper skeptical of people. If I don't know somebody, I'm very hesitant to do any kind of really meaningful business with them. Really knowing somebody really does a lot for me. Or
I feel that's something we both learned perhaps over the first decade was, this is going to sound terrible, but trust no one.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Especially until the paper's signed. But I feel we got let down a lot early on with certain projects that were especially when we were much smaller, they represented potentially a lot of income for us at a time. And then it's oh, this didn't happen, though we worked on it, et cetera.
Yeah.
And you get your hopes built up. So trust no one in business.
Yeah. No, but what was interesting about this process is that never kind of flashed into my mind. Again, because we knew you pretty well, and had, a lot of affection for you guys. At no point did I think, was it ever a question of do I want to go into business with these people? It was just yes, of course, and I think it's really gratifying to hear you kind of similarly feel you didn't really have to think that much about it. You were because also from my perspective throughout the process, you say you're very protective, or I can't remember what word you use, controlling or whatever. And that's not the vibe at all of the conversations we've had. I think, it just has felt very organic and easy. And I think that, I'm really excited to be able to kind of solve a problem for you. I'm excited that what we can do is solving something that made you bummed out and unhappy and was a challenge in your life. That's really rewarding. And, obviously there's business involved and there's, money and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm just excited that you created something you care about. You didn't have to hand it over to somebody who doesn't give a shit, and we can grow it together, in a really thoughtful way, and make each other, I don't know, it sounds corny, but also make each other happy and satisfied with their, every day. I don't know.
Remove all of that stress causing stuff, while also and I think this sort of resonates once again with the comments we've seen, but improve things in a logical way, not a those roadblocks you were hitting, we will get through them. And things not being accessible or part of the goal of having watches be more accessible. And it's that's not instantaneous, obviously that's going to take some time, but it's that is, of course, that is our goal. It's not blow it up, get it into Macy's or anything like that. It's bring it to where it could have been,
Thank you.
I think this, for me, it works because we've known each other long enough and we've worked with each other enough to trust that we understand each other well.
Yeah.
So you guys know where we're coming from, and, we know where you're coming from, and, it's gonna, and I think that's why it felt so organic, because we didn't really have to say much about, we don't have to talk much. We're just oh yeah, we know you guys, we know each other.
Yeah.
Right. But also, I mean, Blake, you're saying you weren't getting that vibe that I was being possessed about it, but I was trying to be as upfront and honest and give you everything as much as you wanted and as I could, just so you could know exactly what you're going to be dealing with, because I want to make sure.
Yeah.
I kept asking you, sure you want to do this? You still want to do this? Because I care about y'all as people too. I want to make sure that, everyone is excited about it. But I really like the idea of all of us being really invested in it doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I think that like, I think, you were saying like what it would have taken to expand. And I feel like I always say like our business is very complicated. Like Worn and Wound is a very like intricate kind of like complicated business. Like we have staff that do editorial, that do media creation, that do logistics and customer service, and it's just like a very like we have a lot of staff. Like we have a lot of people on the team. Like we're pushing 20 people on the team, and I think that like a watch brand of a similar sort of like annual revenue number probably would have like much fewer staff. Like it's just a complicated business. But I think what comes with that, and again, doing editorial, doing shop, doing events, like we've dealt with so much crap, and like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and all of the challenging people that you could imagine we've worked with, and like difficult staffing things. And it's like, I think that I feel really confident that like we can handle it. Like I feel really great about it, and like I'm not, maybe the famous last words, like I'm just like not remotely like intimidated by the process. I want to get 3 years from now. You know what I mean? Like I want to just like get there. And we'll get there. It'll be exciting. Yeah. Sorry, you have a list of questions.
I have a list of questions. I mean, we've actually been like kind of organically answering a lot of them. One though I was just thinking about that. So I asked Slack Plus since once again, the news got out a little earlier than we anticipated. So there's been some chatter online, but now everyone knows, but I just kind of wanted to give some people the opportunity to ask. So Albert Metz from our Slack asks, what will the relationship be like between Laurier and Worn and Wound post acquisition? E.g., will Laurier still exist largely as is, but with Worn and Wound support, or Laurier become the Worn and Wound house brand, so to speak? And I think we obviously touched on this somewhat, but this is something else I've seen. Is a little bit like, oh, well, it just get folded into like the wind up watch shop. And it's like, no. Laurier is a brand. Laurier has a website. And I figured, maybe you could speak to this, but we've hired our first Laurier employee, who's somebody that I think everyone will be excited about.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely it's not going to become folded into anything. Laurier is very much going to like stand on its own. And yeah, the first person that, I wanted to hire was somebody to like really be a steward of the brand, be, a general manager who like gets the brand, wants to push it in the right direction, also has knowledge of the watch industry, and basically can kind of be like a miniature version of us as business owners, someone we really believe in. And we're really excited. We were able to hire, and again, the news is probably out by this time, but like Ilya Riven, who was Worn and Wound's first employee, is now Laurier's first employee, which is really exciting.
Wow.
He was with us for basically the entire founding of Worn and Wound, and then
on the first podcast.
He was on the first podcast. I'm sure he'll be on another at some point. He went to Grand Seiko for about 6 years, and just like did a ton of work that was related to what we're doing, and has jumped on board, and as of the recording of this podcast has worked 2 full days. It's great. I'm really excited to have him on board. He, I think 100% gets what you guys are all about. And I think, we talked about this, like you guys knew him fairly well from his time here and maybe otherwise. And, like we trust him implicitly, it's such an easy fit. And it just like makes so much sense. And the fact that, he really honed his skills in these specific areas that are going to be important to this position was just like of great benefit. And selfishly, I've been talking to Ilya for years about like, basically from me being like, how am I going to get you back to Worn and Wound? So when this opportunity came up, I was very excited to make it available to him. But again, in fairness, like we did do a full search and spoke with some really talented people, and Ilya definitely rose to the top for us nonetheless. Yeah. But yeah, it's really exciting. And he's going to be, independent of, like, he's not going to do anything for Worn and Wound. And I think, try to sort of summarize the general philosophy of how we'll work together as concisely as possible. But basically, like, Worn and Wound, or Laurier will have its own employees. who work exclusively for Laurier, but then there are also going to be staff on Worn and Wound who do things like take photographs and run social media accounts and do things like that, where maybe Laurier doesn't need that person on a full-time basis, and they're going to use Worn and Wound as a resource, just like any other vendor would use us as like a white label creative service. So, it's, our team is going to see it very much as like, hey, we got a contract to do watch photography for this brand. Like, let's take the photographs and deliver them to the client. But yeah, it's very much separate. And I don't think for people from the outside looking in, they're going to feel like anything but Laurier is an independent company. So,
and everyone though at Worn and Wound is very excited about this news because similarly everyone adores the brand. So it also fit in that way. I don't think anyone's like, ugh.
Yeah. And the people, to be perfectly honest, like the thing people are most excited about is working with you guys, I think. Yeah. Like they're obviously very excited about the brand, but they're also very excited that like, as much as the brand is going to be treated as separate, it's also like you guys are now part of the crew,
We're boring. It's more interesting to have like new, fun, interesting people that can come and talk. The other thing is, I'm sure people want to know is Blake talked about the separation as well as the overlap, but also we've already been talking about product for years in advance, and we're already starting to figure out how that's going to look and where we're going to go. And that particular process for a small company is very difficult. I know when we were doing straps, we could barely think 6 months ahead of time. And I think now we're far ahead of that. And now looking at Laurier watches, we're all as a team looking at what's doing really well. What do people want? What are some of the trends that we see or the technologies that are available that weren't available in the last 5 years that have come down in price and something that we can integrate into the watch that we've never done before. And you'll see some of those right off the bat. Some of those will take a little bit longer. But we also have a really good wealth of knowledge and people that we work with on the manufacturing side, which I'm sure that we can add to the people that you already know, because, you take 2 people and you add 3 more, there's a lot more people that we can talk to. So it'll make the products get even better. And I think I've been a personal fan of Laurier for a long time. So I've bought 3, 4, something like that. I've had a lot, but it's important to me to continuously make products better as we go forward and to continuously make them better at each iteration while making them the same proposition that they are today, because that's what people love about the brand, because I am one of those people that loves the brand. So that's been the fun part for me. And I think that people will be interested to hear that we're already looking out into 2028. So,
we've got the collection, the core to get through. We've got the Zephyr to redesign. We've got new designs. We've got
Reddit.
We've got special editions. We're going to keep making watches that delight us. We're going to keep trying things, designs, cases, shapes that we love that maybe get less attention than it should. We're going to keep things fun and keep doing what we love.
Yeah. Can I swear on this podcast? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think I already swear.
Okay, all right, awesome.
I'm trying to avoid F-bombs, but
Okay, all right. I know this is like a concern that people have when a brand gets acquired and then it gets shittier. And to that point, I think
was that the swearing you just
that was the
PG-13. You're going to say
I mean. I think one comment on Reddit was like, "Oh, the word inshittification comes to mind," and so responding specifically to like that notion, which like, all right, whatever, I understand, because that's happened before. But to me, like having gone through all this, it's like, but like it's so obvious to me, like why would we make this shittier? Like that makes no sense. So like, why do I even?
Competition's just building, and we're just gonna make it shittier.
Right? Yeah. So like, so I don't know how to answer that question, because if I say, well, of course you wouldn't make it shittier, then they would be like, oh, well, of course you would say that.
I think that I think when people have concerns about that stuff, like it's all totally valid. Like to your point, like you can't ignore the fact that companies get bought and sold all the time and they get shittier. You know, like that happens all the time. Or, you know, one of the earliest pieces of advice we got about our business when people started asking us about like acquisition was like 99% of the time you're not going to exist 5 years later. Like they're going to sign you on for a contract. They're going to let you like,
this is specifically media.
Yeah. Give you the secret sauce and then you're going to get folded and you're not going to exist. And like that happens all the time. And it's like, you know, I think about with Worn and Wound and as the business has grown, you know, starting as a blog and then adding product and then launching a store and having the events. I feel like at every turn, like you could have had similar skepticism of like, okay, a blog has a shop. Like that's interesting. Like how do you maintain independence? Or, you know, now you're doing these events. Like how do you maintain focus or whatever the concern may be? And I think, you know, my answer to all of that is always the same. It's like, totally valid, have those concerns, but also just observe what we do. Like you can make your own judgments as we proceed. Like if that person is concerned things are going to get shitty, let them be concerned until they aren't shitty. And then they're going to be like, wow, this is so great. They didn't get shitty, you know, like we know what we're going to do with the brand. Like, and I think that, you know, the communities that we've built, I think trust what we're doing, you know?
And like what James was saying, you know, like kind of the whole intent is to make the product better. You know, you know, one huge advantage of this partnership is that now Laurier can focus more on product, right? And you guys have the infrastructure to do all the stuff that supports the product, right? So,
have you felt a sense of relief yet?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
hopefully it'll come.
One of the things that's happening a lot right now in 2026, really for the last probably 5, maybe 10 years, is that the general public has been really let down in a lot of private equity purchases, especially with food companies and larger companies that become, they're trying to streamline things as from a cost perspective and making things more profitable and stripping out features. And that is exactly what product development should not be today. It should be the other way around. We can make more. Like, why was the iPhone made? The iPhone was made because sensors came down like a lot, and people could then integrate it into a phone, and then they made a phone, and then they made an app store, blah, blah, blah. You look at something like a Bugatti Veyron. How are they going to make a Bugatti Veyron without integrating Volkswagen in? How are they going to make AMG better without integrating Mercedes into their company? I realize that's punching way above my weight.
I think about the Veyron every day.
But product development is something that is really fun for me. And if what you were just saying is that if you have ideas that you haven't been able to put down yet on paper, we can all take them as a team and say, oh, Lorenzo's got this really great idea of something. And Zach actually told me one earlier today that we haven't talked to you about yet. That was, okay, we've got an idea or we've got a technology that we didn't have time to look at before, or we didn't have the availability. Now we can take that and really run with it and actually integrate it into a less expensive product. So that's where I think that and shitification, was that what it was?
That's what the comment said. Yeah.
That's an understandable reasoning and an understandable thought process, but that's couldn't be farther from the truth for what we're trying to do.
Yeah. This sort of addresses Andrew's question, which, I mean, so Andrew, thanks for asking the question, but you said, are there ideas, designs that you, Lauren and Lorenzo have had in the can that you've not been able to bring to market because of limitations of your production partners, MOQs, or other restraints? They'll now become a reality. I feel like, well, it sounds like the answer is yes, to some extent.
Well, you know, Zach, we still have the Astra Starglider on the back burner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
remember that? True. Remember that?
Yeah, there was a potential follow-up to the Astra Stargazer.
Right.
What were they gazing at?
Yeah.
Question.
So typically what happens when Zach works on limited editions with companies, he'll I don't know exactly how it ended up happening here, but he'll present a series of ideas that go from palatable or easy to say yes to fucking nuts. Sorry, freaking nuts. And maybe we can do some freaking nuts ones with Laurier, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was on the table. We were talking about it.
It was something that was going to come after, but then, now we can revisit it.
I feel like
that's another, on a personal level, not, that specifically, but other limited editions, they've been let down a lot of times too, because they don't go with the crazy one a lot. You guys have been willing to make more fun stuff than like when we did the Gemini, I remember being like, oh, there's no way they're going to delete a subdial because like people weren't doing that stuff yet. And we did,
You did.
It's pretty awesome.
I was like, that looks great.
Yeah. Well, that's what special eds are about. Limited eds. It's like, go there.
Yeah, but before we get people too excited, this is not months away.
No. This is something we're not sure is physically like we still have to work out.
Just you wait, guys.
Yeah,
we're gonna push you hard. No,
but
yeah.
We're having fun.
Yeah. But I think that like in terms of like you asked, I think, have you experienced any like relief yet? Like, as Board and Wound has grown, I think one of the things that has made me feel relief, and I think you guys too, is like us just really focusing on the things that we're good at and that we care about. And like, I don't think James and I want to like ever touch editorial stuff ever. Like, it was very clear early on that like Zach really enjoyed writing about watches and James and I really did not.
2 years later.
Yeah. Or like James is like bizarrely interested in like tax stuff and
farther from the truth.
That's a superpower.
No, but like he's just very interested in like
he loves accounts receivable.
Yeah, no, but like product pipeline and like just the logistics
love
of the
and
shop.
have to are two different things.
And like I really like working with people, so like I've really kind of taken on like managing like the team and kind of being the people person and like it's kind of like when it gets to the point where like it just kind of is happening on its own or like things are happening that you had nothing to do with and you're excited by those things. Like I think that's the exciting part. You know what I mean?
I guess I was too quick to say that I have felt relief, but there's a new pressure in place because I care about y'all as people, right? And before, just me and Lorenzo, we can make decisions, we can take risks. If it blows up or whatever, it's just us, but now the family is bigger. And so I want this to go well for y'all. And these are early days and we're having to figure out all the processes and, Ilya just came on board. So it's like, now is the time. And so there's just a lot to think about and the pressure of, making this good for y'all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I personally really, and I've worked on this to try to not be as stressed because like stress used to be like a major issue in my life personally, but like I really try not to put too much pressure on myself, and like we all work really hard here, and like maybe the staff would kind of laugh at the idea of me saying this, but I really do try to communicate that like none of this in the grand scheme of things is that important. And like, obviously we're all going to do the best work we can and we do great work, but it's also like at the end of the day, it's okay. You know what I mean? And I think that like, especially if we're like working with the best people possible and, obviously like the resources that Laurier can tap into is like growing significantly. Like, I'm just like I have not felt the concern. I'm just like, yeah, it's gonna be great. Like this is all gonna be great. And I'm usually not like that. Usually
that's true.
It's all gonna fail, but I'm just feeling like everything's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've learned over time with entrepreneurs is that we're all, and I'll include you two into it, Lauren and Lorenzo, is that we're all a bit egotistical and tend to do things ourselves because we think that we're going to do them the best. No. And like, as much as we want to say that we're not, we typically think that we're going to do it the best. And what happens in these situations, and I have kind of a group of entrepreneurs that I talk to bounce ideas off of. And now I want to be that, and we want to be those people for you to be able to be like, I don't know how to do this, or this scares me. And it's happened many times over the year that, like I use the fair as a big one that I talk about a lot, where like that scared the living hell out of me. And now it's kind of like it is one of the most important things that we do. And now when you kind of come up to those situations where something's very difficult, I remember you wouldn't let us ship for a long time. You shipped everything, all the LEs yourself, but now you let us ship. So we've already started that process. But it just makes it a little easier because you got more people here who can be like, oh, that's not a big deal. And and Nina, even our staff, she makes me feel much more confident about things that we do because she's better than I ever was. So it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, Nina's great.
Yep.
Shout out to Nina.
Shout out to Nina.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm going to echo like what you said. Yeah, it's going to be great, and I think that's ironically that's what allows us to do better work. Like if we put too much pressure on ourselves, then like, at least in my experience, things tend to go worse somehow.
You don't want to hesitate.
Right.
Well,
when
you're stressed and stuff, you second guess, you hesitate, you hold back a little. You want to feel in a good place, so you can let it.
Right, and even
really
when even for the things that are just out of your control, like because there are many things that are our control. There's just I don't know. It's nice. It's nice to be able to say, like it's gonna be fine, right? And we can run around with our like chickens with our heads cut off, or we can just do what we can do.
Hopefully now you can just enjoy the success of what you've built.
Right. Well, I hope I'm not coming across as a chicken with my head cut off. Okay, I was trying to be.
Oh wow! I was talking about.
I feel somehow there's even greater resresponsibility because I have more people involved in it now and people I really respect.
Right. I was talking about myself.
Okay.
And
it's really just like taking a step back. What's really interesting about this, like, having been in the micro brand space. So Warner Wound is 15 as of May. It's a really long time. We've seen kind of the micro brand world go from basically non-existent. Like there was a couple funky brands like Helson and whatever to Kickstarter days to now companies opening showrooms in Lower Manhattan, which like I never thought we'd be getting there. Like this is an example of like what happens when like a business is successful. And I feel like that was kind of always the question of like, what would come of the micro brand world? And I mean, this is one route. And I actually think it's really cool that we're doing this just from the perspective of like, nobody else has done this yet in this space. And I think that this is a very interesting route that I think will be very exciting. Especially 3 years. I'm like that too. I kind of want to see like 3 years. Once we get like the things like up and running and going, like what are the really like, what would the fruit of the labors, really be like then,
Totally. Yeah. I've actually been thinking about that a lot, and this is all kind of semantic, whatever, but we talk about like, Laurie's going to remain independent, but obviously like technically on paper, like it's not independent, like it's a company that's owned, whatever. But it was just, it got me thinking about like, what does it actually mean for like a company to be independent? And what does it mean when a company gets acquired? And I think what is a very unique point of differentiation with this transaction, with this arrangement, is that it's one independent company kind of working with another independent company. Like there's still no external influence coming into this and telling us we have to hit certain numbers or do things a certain way. Like I think that, again, I'm not really explaining myself very well. Maybe you cut all of this out of the podcast, but like
no edits.
Yeah. But I really do think that Laurier is going to continue to feel exactly the way that it's felt in the past. And it's not going to feel like there's any kind of like outside influence or alternate agenda or anything like that kind of pushing things forward. It's always going to be pushed forward for the same reasons that you guys were pushing forward before. And I think that's going to end up resulting for, the general consumer and the sort of larger watch community at large. Like it's just going to feel very much the same, and I think like it's funny, like to your point about like, are you either chill or a chicken with your head cut off? I think that, I think about this sometimes too, that it's a little bit kind of blissful ignorance. Like for me, like if I can just not think about the fact that the decisions we make sometimes are big decisions that like can really influence things one way or the other, like it makes it much easier to make decisions and kind of go on instinct. And I think that, the truth of the matter is like we both have businesses that were built on like passion and instinct. Like that's why we've gotten to where we are. Like, Worn and Wound has always just kind of done stuff that we thought was cool and that the community was missing, and we just kind of went for it. And, you know, I don't know that a lot of people run their business that way. And I feel like, you know, you very much like kind of operated Laurier from a position of like passion about what you were doing. And I think, yeah, like I said, that's not changing. Like that sort of core principle isn't changing.
And people will still see you in the future, right? I mean, where can they expect to see you?
Yeah. And I mean, with this partnership, I was going to say, like, Laurier can be even more of what we intended for it to be. You know, because, you know, if it wasn't for you guys, right? Like we were at wit's end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now we can take it further than, you know, even maybe where we imagined. I have some ideas. We can talk about that later, but yeah.
Good.
It's probably a good place to wrap up, but I have one question remaining, based on a Reddit user who I'm not going to name. He said, Laurier is toast. So now with one word, what kind of bread are you?
Baguette tradition.
There you go.
What? Oh, I like the seduction loaf at Whole Foods. Okay.
Okay.
You
Come
like
on, give me
the seduction loaf?
the seeds. The seduction.
Oh,
It's full
okay.
of seeds.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Seeds.
The seed.
It's
I've never.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, Blake,
frequent.
what kind of bread are you?
Oh gosh. The first thing that came to mind is a bialy, but like I don't really eat
That
bialys.
counts, though. I
Like
don't know.
it would probably be a pumpernickel bagel. I think.
Pumpernickel bagel.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love a good pumpernickel.
Yeah.
You know.
That's,
Yeah.
risky.
Oh, I have to do.
Yeah, we're all going.
After seduction, a marble rye.
Interesting.
Did I take it?
I was going to say rye. I do
Yeah.
like a good rye toast. But I'll go, brioche.
Fair enough.
solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I still do want people to know, before we go,
Yes.
where can people see you two going forward?
Sorry.
Because they're going to want to see you.
Right.
Wherever we were before, behind the table at the watch fairs.
Yeah, you
Cool.
guys will be
Yeah.
going to wind-ups, along with Ilya, which is really exciting. And other watch shows. Like, it's not going to be like just a wind-up thing. So, you know, we'll go to other watch events that will have us, and, you know, we'll probably do showroom events at the Wind Up Watch Up showroom.
Okay.
And, obviously the watches will be available there, and potentially at other retailers that we want to work with. But yeah, I, like you said, all the same places and hopefully more.
And then the email as well. So more people are answering emails now, but people can still get to you, because I know that sometimes they like to talk to you directly. So they'll be, at least from my understanding, tell me if this is correct, that it'll still go into our customer service, but if you ask to talk to one of you, you're available.
Sure. If you ask nicely.
Okay. Cool.
Well, excellent. It was great talking to you guys. If you have any questions, shoot them over to, I guess we'll have like info at Laurier Watches. I usually say Worn and Wound. I'm used to saying
Now I have
but
to
don't.
make that.
Yeah, okay.
It's info at LauriaWatches.com.
Yeah, it's
Okay, good.
All
right.
Hey,
But once again-
homework.
I can't know. I can't remember all these emails.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you soon.